State your name for the
I'm
record.
here
please.
as a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value and return for value all the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments, and I would like to make a reservation of all my rights at this time.
All right, thank you. The record should reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell Brooks is present in person in custody. He is wearing street clothes, specifically a suit and tie, and he is wearing a mask.
And I do not consent to being called that name for the record.
Noted. All right, so Mr. Brooks called a witness yesterday. There was an objection. I sustained it, but he also orally moved to dismiss, and I indicated I would take that up outside the presence of the jury. I didn't do that yesterday, so I just want to put on the record that I'm denying the motion without any further consideration or discussion by the parties. He listed two reasons. One was it had to do when he called the state of Wisconsin as a witness for failing to appear, and then for failing to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. There's no legal basis for those motions in law or in fact, and so that's why I'm denying them on the record today. I'm not asking for any further commentary or statements on the issue.
I object to that.
And I intend to have you call the next witness. I just want to confirm with the state who is here this morning.
I object to that ruling, Your Honor.
Noted for the record.
Present this morning, Your Honor.
I would like legal finding of fact.
Denied.
Your Honor, consistent with the court's instruction yesterday afternoon, we have present Douglas Kohler, Detective Steve Guth, and Erica Patterson are here now and available.
All right. All right, I expect you to call those first three before we get to any other person, not whatever order you want among the three, but those will be the three people called, and then we'll get to the next people according to the scheduling that I put in place yesterday.
I want to state for the record that I intend to appeal that judicial decision made about the motion to dismiss.
Noted for the record. All right, let's bring the jury out then.
Actually, we didn't address subject matter jurisdiction. It still has yet to be proven for the record, and I wanted to address the fact that with this, is it Kohler? Is that how you pronounce the name? Kohler?
We're going to continue with the witnesses. I've addressed subject matter jurisdiction repeatedly. There's a written decision. I stand behind it. You have three witnesses that you subpoenaed. The state made arrangements for them to be here. Whatever order you want to call them in this morning is fine, but those three are here.
That's what I was trying to address right now. I was asking
Okay, go
about
ahead.
the
What do you
name.
want to address?
The Kohler, how do you pronounce the name? Kohler? I'm
I
still
don't know.
having
You'll
trouble.
have to ask the witness.
I'm still having trouble finding the file for that particular witness.
Yeah, call the jury in.
So I don't know how I'm supposed to.
Mr. Brooks, you were well advised. These are your witnesses that the state made arrangements. You knew who was going to be called. I put that on the record yesterday. So of those three, whatever order you want, but I'm not moving past those three to jump to others.
I didn't say anything about moving past the three.
I know that. I'm just setting the tone for today that we're going to keep moving.
Okay, I simply stated I'm not ready to ask that witness questions if I can't even find the
I
your
understand,
paperwork.
but that's you not having your paperwork's on you, not anybody else.
So what am I supposed to ask him?
I can't answer that, sir. You know that.
That's a rush to judgment. You can't rush me to judgment when I'm notifying the court that I cannot find the record.
Well, you
I
did
can't
very
find.
well
I can't
yesterday
find the
without
file
your
for
file,
that.
so
I'm saying
I
that
don't think that's the
particular
issue.
witness.
I'll make a record. Yesterday, you asked a question. Hold on a second. Can you have them step back out? Just they can. Yesterday, you said you did not have a file for one of the witnesses, and you did a fine job from my perspective. So
I did what?
You did a fine job. I just want
Yeah,
to
but
say my assessment.
they also
you did
provided
a
me
good job.
with one sheet for that particular witness at that time.
Okay.
So I
I'm
just went
bringing
off
the
of that
jury
3
in.
paragraphs.
How you're prepared or not is solely on you, sir. You've had all of this information. Now we're at the end of the 3rd week of trial. These are your witnesses. I presume that you are prepared in whatever way that is.
How
You're not
can I
going
be
to hold it
prepared
up.
for? I'm not. So the witness is just supposed to get up there and just. I'm just like,
I'm
yeah.
not going to have this commentary. Okay, I'm done. The jury's coming out. Be prepared to call
So
one of the
that's a
three.
rush to judgment.
That is not a rush to judgment.
It is a rush
Again,
to
I'm done.
judgment.
The jury's
It's clearly
coming
a
in.
rush to judgment if I'm telling you that I don't have the
No,
file.
in
How am
my
I
opinion,
supposed?
you're attempting to delay. So
No,
let's
I'm not.
keep
I'm not
going.
attempting to delay nothing. You want to come check the boxes yourself? You always trying to pull some fast maneuvers.
Mr. Brooks,
And Miss Judge, Your Honor,
Mr. Brooks, the jury's coming in.
yeah,
Show
and
respect to
they
the
deserve
jury.
to know this too. It's still issues that need to get addressed. We didn't even address everything.
Mr. Brooks, I addressed all of the issues.
No, I
and you
still
know
had
it.
another one that didn't have nothing to do with nothing we just talked about.
All
There
right.
was a whole nother issue that needed to be addressed that I needed to
And we'll
bring on
address
the
it
record to
later.
your attention.
We'll address it later.
It needs to get addressed now before we go any further because it's an important matter. Just like the subject matter jurisdiction is important. That hasn't been proven on the record.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Just
this is
like the
not
rush to
the
judgment.
time for evidence to be presented or arguments to be made by the
I
parties.
can't
The
even
jury
present
will
any evidence. You won't let me even put
disregard
any evidence in the record.
all of these
Which
statements
is a
made
rush to
by
judgment.
Mr. Brooks
That's
at this
unfair.
time. All right.
That's unfair what
The
you're
court
doing.
will address legal matters outside the
Then we
presence.
need to
Everyone
address
can
the
be
legal
seated.
matter that I was trying to get to before
And
you
you
rush
may call your
everything
next
out.
witness, sir.
I'm not calling any witness until I get an answer, Your Honor. You're a public servant. You're
Mr. Brooks,
supposed to be able to answer simple questions.
Mr. Brooks,
if I'm saying I have to bring
call
it to
your
your
next
attention,
witness, please. That's the stage that
I have
we
to
are
bring
at.
it to your attention, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks,
I'm merely seeking
please
to bring
stop.
an issue to your attention.
I'm telling you to please, I'm asking you to please
And
stop.
I'm asking you,
because
can we
we have the
address-
jury present.
I'm asking
and
you-
we need to continue with the evidentiary phase of this trial. Call your next
I'm
witness.
asking you to address a legal matter, as you said that those have to be taken up outside of the jury.
I will
There
do
was
that
a
at the
legal
next
matter-
break.
There was a legal matter that needed to be addressed beforehand,
I
so
will
we
do
don't
it.
have to take up time,
I will do
valuable
it at the
time
next break.
afterwards to address something that needs to be addressed now. That way,
Mr.
the
Brooks,
court and you
for the
yourself are
third
on
time,
notice.
I will address it at the next break. Call your next witness, please.
Are you asking me?
I'm directing you to call your next witness.
Your Honor, we're not going to move past this, seeing as how you took an oath to protect the Constitution. I have your oath. I have a copy of your oath right here. The oath that you took, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks, I'd like to continue with testimony.
To-
We have witnesses waiting for you. Please call your next witness.
The oath that you swore to protect the Constitution, which you are now not doing.
Mr. Brooks,
So you're going
call your
against
next
your
witness,
sworn
please.
oath. You're going against your sworn oath.
Mr. Brooks, call your next
As you
witness.
as you notify the jury every time when there's legal matters, we take them outside of their presence.
And we're going
I
to take
didn't-
testimony right now. Call your next
I merely
witness.
seek to put you on notice, on the record, for something that needs to be brought to your attention
And
and
I
to the
will-
court's attention.
And I will address it at
That's
the
what
next
I'm
break.
merely seeking to do. It's something that shouldn't have to wait because it'll take up valuable time later. At least if I notify you right from the onset, you'll already know what we're looking at, and we can nip it in the bud before everything starts to roll. And
Mr.
then
Brooks,
it gets
I will
overlooked.
address it at the next break. If you want to write something down, that's fine, and give it to my clerk. I have nothing in writing. I know there's witnesses available and ready to go. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, Your Honor, you have to answer this question. You're
Mr.
making a
Brooks,
judicial determination.
Call
to
your
rush
next
me to
witness,
judgment.
please.
You're rushing me to judgment, Your Honor.
There's no rush to judgment
There
here,
is a rush
sir.
to judgment. If you won't address a legal issue that I informed you that I had some legal issues that needed to be addressed before you just run right past that, Your Honor. You're a public
Mr.
servant.
Brooks,
Are you not a
it is
public servant?
9:37. Call
It is
your...
8:37.
Sorry, 8:37, you're right. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, you're rushing me to judgment.
There's no rush to judgment. Call your next
We
witness,
had a
please.
legal matter that needed to be addressed, and I'm merely trying to
And I'm
notify the court.
Telling
at
you
the
I'm denying the
onset-
request to address it at this moment. Call your next witness.
You said what?
I'm denying your request to address it at this moment. Please
How
call.
how can you deny
please
something that we're supposed to do before
Mr.
the jury
Brooks.
even comes out?
call your witness.
I'm not seeking to be disruptive. I'm just seeking to understand why we do this
Everyone
every day.
is in the courtroom waiting for you. Please call your
Your
next
Honor,
witness.
we do this every single day. We've done it every single day. So I'm simply trying to make sure that the court is notified of
Put it
things
in
that need to be
writing, hand it to the
discussed.
bailiff, and if I deem it important enough to interrupt the witness, I will, but call your next witness.
How can I call a witness and write something down and do
You can
both?
take a minute
This
to
is the-
write down what it is.
This
I'm
is
not
the
asking
reason
you
why
to,
it needed to be addressed beforehand.
Mr. Brooks,
That way
the
it
jury
doesn't
is
become an
remaining in
issue.
this courtroom. Call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, you're rushing me to judgment.
There's no rush to judgment, sir.
Are you not a public servant, Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks,
Do I not have your oath of office?
under
3 of them?
90611, this court has the authority, as you know.
Do I not have,
Call.
is this not a copy, or I asked for certified copies that you said on record that you would not provide for no good reason, that these are three
Sir,
of your
you are
oaths
doing this,
right
and I've
here.
repeatedly told you, you can see the jury's here. You're doing this.
Listen,
we
Your Honor,
need to go
I'm
forward.
I'm not attempting to delay the proceedings. I'm not attempting to be disruptive. I'm merely trying to notify Your Honor in the court for the record beforehand. That way, everyone's at least on notice of the issues that need to be taken up, instead of waiting until a break or a lunch and things of that nature, which
In
kills
my
valuable
discretion,
time.
it's my authority, it's the courtroom that I'm
Your Honor,
presiding over. I'm not going to address
is
that
this-
at this moment.
is this not your
And
oath?
I'm not going to answer
Did you not
questions.
swear as a public servant that you would protect the
Mr.
United
Brooks,
States Constitution?
call
Did you not do
your
that?
witness.
3 times. I have all of them. Here, your oath, Your Honor, as a public servant. And
Mr.
now you're
Brooks,
rushing me to judgment
there's no
when
rush
I'm
to
doing
judgment.
things lawfully by trying to notify you and notify the court of issues that need to be addressed
Mr. Brooks,
beforehand.
we are in
These
the
were issues-
evidentiary phase of this trial.
Your Honor, you're
Call
rushing
your
me to
next
judgment.
witness.
You're rushing me to judgment, Your Honor. And I object
I'm
to
aware
that.
of 3 witnesses
I
who are
object-
here.
I
Call
object to
one
that.
of them, please.
Your Honor, I object to that.
Your objection's noted.
And
for the
I
record.
want a legal reconsideration of your ruling. If not, I reject that ruling and take exception to that ruling.
I understand.
I request a legal or factual basis for your ruling, a written judicial finding of fact and conclusion of law for your ruling. And if not that, an interlocutory, declaratory appeal for this matter. And if not, these need to be stayed until this matter is before a adjudicated court of competent jurisdiction, because we have not proven jurisdiction in this court as of yet. Subject matter jurisdiction has not even been proven on the record, Your Honor. I don't even know the true nature and cause of
Mr.
the
Brooks,
charges against me. I don't even understand that part
I
of it.
understand
I haven't
your
been
request.
provided a complaint. I haven't. Your Honor, there's so many issues.
Mr.
and
Brooks,
I'm not
we will
attempting,
take-
I'm not attempting to,
Mr.
to
Brooks,
be disrespectful in any way.
We
I'm
need
not
to
attempting
continue.
to delay the proceedings.
Your
in any
requests
way.
are denied.
Your Honor, I
And I'm going to
respectfully
instruct the
object
jury
that.
at this point to
I
disregard
respectfully
and not
object to
consider
that, Your
any
Honor.
of what has just happened since you walked in. It should not be held against Mr. Brooks in any way. These are legal issues that this court may or may not need to address, but they do not bear in any way on ultimately the issues that you as jurors will have to decide. And I'm instructing you to disregard what you have just heard and seen.
Your Honor, with everything that I just said, be made part of the record.
It's on the record. I'm telling the jury that it shouldn't affect anything that they're doing in any way.
Your Honor, it's a
With that-
it's a rush to judgment
Mr. Brooks,
because, Your Honor, I just showed your oath that you swore to took. You swore you
Mr.
did
Brooks,
this, Your Honor.
please call your next witness.
You took these oath of offices. You did, Your Honor, 3 of them.
I understand my
Which
oath,
is
sir,
very,
very
very
well.
commendable that that you decided to be a public servant in these type of matters, Your Honor. I respect it to the fullest, but also you have to uphold these oaths.
All right, I'm going to have
took,
to
Your Honor.
excuse the jury since Mr. Brooks is
have
not
to-
calling his witness. We'll
have to-
hopefully
you have
bring you
to-
back out shortly.
You have to
All right.
honor these oath of offices. You have to, as a public servant, Your Honor. I respect you being a public servant. And this is not to take a shot at you in any way, but these
Mr.
issues
Brooks,
that I have,
stop. Please
they
stop.
need to be addressed. They need
I'm
to be.
excusing the jury. Can you please stop?
Your Honor, this is a rush to judgment. This is a clear bias.
Mr. Brooks, you are to stop talking.
Are you asking me?
I'm advising you, or you will forfeit your right to be present in this
So you're holding
courtroom
me
for
in
the
contempt?
questioning of your first witness.
Because you're holding me in contempt.
I'm not holding you in contempt.
Then how can you remove me from the courtroom when I haven't given consent
Mr. Brooks, I'm
How can you
advising
do
you
that?
at this moment to call your next witness, or you will forfeit the right to call these witnesses.
You can't take my
Under
Sixth Amendment
906.11,
right.
you are
cannot-
refusing to
you
call
cannot-
a witness.
I didn't refuse anything, Your Honor, and you can't deny me my Sixth Amendment right, which is
Mr.
to
Brooks,
call
do you want to
witnesses,
be present in
which
this
is to subpoena
courtroom
witnesses.
while you question your first witness? Because it is now 8:44, and you've consistently talked in front of the jury who's no longer in this courtroom on issues that you have been advised and are fully aware are not relevant to their determination, despite what you
This-
believe the law
this didn't have anything
is.
to do with the jury,
Subject
Your Honor.
matter that is what you referenced in front of the
I
jury,
referenced
and then you
that
referenced
after I
my
had raised
oath.
the issues that I was
Subject
trying to
matter
raise.
jurisdiction, as you know, is not
As I don't
something the
know.
state has to be, the
It
state
has
must
to be
prove.
proven. It has to be. And
You are
if it doesn't,
frankly
show me
confusing
lawful law.
civil
Show me lawful
jurisdiction
law,
in
Your Honor.
federal cases with criminal court jurisdiction in the state of Wisconsin.
You don't have criminal.
That
you
has
don't
been
even
made
have.
abundantly
You don't
clear.
have subject matter jurisdiction or personal jurisdiction.
Mr. Brooks,
Or personal jurisdiction. You don't. You haven't proven.
you have not,
You haven't
I
proven
excuse
for
the
record.
jury. I'll give you the opportunity to raise whatever issue it was, but you need to do it now or we're moving forward.
That's what I want to do. That's what
So-
I was attempting to do.
And if you interrupt me one more time, you're going to go do it from the other courtroom.
And
Because
so
you're
you're
being,
holding me in contempt?
all right. He can go to the other courtroom and we will address these issues because
holding
you
me in
are
contempt?
not being respectful. You are disruptive. You are interrupting. I will give you one more opportunity. Don't interrupt me again. Don't roll your eyes at me. Don't sigh at me. You have delayed these proceedings now by 15 minutes because of your nonstop commentary. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to you. What issue do you want to raise, sir?
So are you letting me make an offer of proof for my appeal?
No, because that's not what's relevant at this time, sir. If you don't need to make an offer of proof. Tell me what the issue is. You said
Okay.
you have a legal issue you want to raise before we get going. What is that issue?
Okay. The legal issue is this. Detective Casey yesterday testified for the second time under oath in reference to exhibits 13 and 14 that showed the backyard of my mother's home, which he stated that he had been to the home, had seen the backyard, all this stuff, when he did not, in fact, even speak with my mother. It was brought to my attention that my mother, in fact, never spoke to any law enforcement from Waukesha.
Would you like to add her to your witness list to call her?
Yes, I would.
All right, that's
because
fine.
she's
That's
willing,
how we'll
she's
address
willing
that.
to come.
But that's not something we needed to address this
It needs
right
to
away,
be addressed
sir.
because of the issue of the subpoena. That's the reason why it needed to be addressed. That's the reason why I was trying to attempt to
It
bring
could
it
have
to
been
your
done on a
attention.
break. All right, so
Will I be?
you're
because
putting,
I have-
you're asking me to add Dawn Woods to the witness list for you.
Yes, but I also have a question about the subpoena
The subpoena for whom?
for my mother. But I would also like to subpoena the phone records so it can be made part of the record of the conversation, since the prosecution listens to all the phone calls. They should be able to have heard that phone call as well. So they should be on notice of what was said.
I don't know what phone call you're referring to. If
I'm
you're referring to a
phone
jail
call
phone
from-
call,
I'm referring
then
to a jail phone call that was made last night, October 20th, between 7:54 p.m. and 8:10 p.m., which I'm sure the prosecution has heard by now. And that also brings up the issue of perjury testimony.
sir, the way that you will address the issues that you're talking about are to call witnesses to challenge that or to present the evidence in support of your position. If you're telling me you need to add Dawn Woods to the witness list, I approve of that. You can fill out a subpoena and I'll direct the state to serve that upon her, and at the appropriate time, we'll have her brought, we'll indicate when in the order of folks she can be brought in. So I'll grant that request.
Will I be
In
able
terms
to-
of the jail records, you'll have to subpoena the appropriate custodian or a witness who can testify to that.
That's what I was trying to gain knowledge of, because
Well, I can't give you advice on that,
I'm
sir.
not trying to ask for advice. I was, is that
That's
legal for
asking
me to
me
subpoena?
for, I can't direct how you do that. I can't tell you how to do that. You are acting as your own attorney, and you will need to figure that out. So, you have the subpoena forms. You can research the issues. You have access to legal research materials and other things, and that's how you'll have to address
I
that.
accept for value in return for value this document.
Was that a subpoena form? It is. Thank you. Is there any other witnesses you're asking to add to your, and you can also call Detective Casey if you want, just so you know.
So that make 3 times he's able to testify?
If you believe he has information that he hasn't testified to, I will give you permission to call him as well.
No, I don't think it'd be necessary. He know what he did.
Well, in any event,
And he know what he didn't do.
we're going to bring the jury back out, and then I expect you to call a witness.
And just so I'm clear, because I was trying to get to that issue, what witnesses are here? Because I don't have any paperwork for Kohler. I don't know. how to
Douglas
pronounce
Kohler, Stephen Guth, and Erica Patterson. Of those 3, I expect you to call one of those witnesses.
it. I accept for value in return for value this document.
For the record, Judge, Attorney Witchout just handed to the defendant for his benefit the police report as it relates to the statement of Douglas Kohler, since he's claiming he does not have it.
Since I know that I don't have it. So let's make that record correct.
You don't have it with you in the courtroom is what you're saying.
I can't find it anywhere.
You've had it previously.
Yes, I had it at one point.
All right. Are you ready to proceed forward, Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
All right, let's bring the jury out. Jen.
Zach, can you help Jen? I think she wants help on that last thing.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Mr. Brooks, just to make sure, don't block any of the microphones with anything. Both of those microphones should be on. You want to make sure that. Thank you. All right, go ahead, call your next witness.
Yeah, the defense calls Douglas J. Kohler.
All right. Good morning, sir. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is up toward me, up one riser, and to my right. When you get there, please remain standing, raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. Have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Douglas Kolar, Douglas Kolar.
Thank you.
Go ahead, your witness.
Good morning, Mr. Is it Kolar?
Kolar.
Kolar. Good morning, Mr. Kolar. I want to direct your attention to November 21st of 2021. Do you recall that evening pretty well?
Fairly well, yes.
Well, let me back up for a minute. First of all, what do you do for a living?
I'm an IT director for a law firm.
Been doing that for a long time?
I've been in IT for over 20 years.
Yeah, that is a long time. Directing your attention back to the night of evening of November 21st, 2021. What did you do that day?
Well, that day, I was preparing my daughter to march in the parade with her dance troupe. Watched football earlier in the day and got her dressed, and we had to change our plans last minute because my son was not feeling well. So it was just my daughter and I that went to the parade.
And do you recall what time you arrived at the parade?
It was at least an hour before the start time of the parade.
And do you recall where you were positioned at in the parade?
I moved with the dance troupe, so I
Kind of going with the flow.
correct.
And at some point you observed something happening. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was?
Well, after my daughter had finished and I was walking back to our vehicle to go home, I noticed as we were approaching White Rock, which is what we were parked off of, I noticed a vehicle coming through where the parade participants were going. It was a red vehicle. It was honking its horn. It passed a few parade entries on the right-hand side, and then it passed between two of the groups. It veered to the left and went around the next group on the left-hand side, at which point a police officer attempted to approach the vehicle. That police officer had reached for the door handle, and at the time of that approach, the vehicle started to speed off.
I just want to back up just a little bit. You stated that you heard the vehicle honking its horn.
While it was on White Rock Avenue, it was honking its horn.
In your opinion, did the vehicle appear to try to avoid hitting people?
At that point, yes.
And you made reference to it the vehicle coming in contact with an officer. Did you see where the vehicle went after that interaction with the officer?
There was no contact between the officer and the vehicle. The vehicle attempted to make contact. The officer attempted to make contact. But after that attempt, the vehicle sped southward. I know those streets don't run straight north-south on Main Street.
Did you notice the vehicle strike anyone at that time?
I did not.
And what did you do after you saw the vehicle? Once it was out of your view.
Once it was out of my view, I grabbed my daughter and walked as fast as I could to my car.
And to the best of your recollection, how would you describe the vehicle as far as make and model? To the best of your recollection.
To the best of my recollection today, I only remember a red SUV.
At some point, did you report to law enforcement officers what you had observed that evening?
On the Tuesday morning following the parade, I sent an initial statement to the police.
Would that have been the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes, it was to the Waukesha Police Department.
Did you said you sent a statement. Did you initially speak with anyone verbally?
Initially, no, I did not.
At some point, did you speak with someone verbally?
Yes.
And was that sometime after the Tuesday statement that you initially gave?
Yes. Approximately 2 weeks after I made my statement, I was contacted by someone with the Waukesha Police.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I believe the rear windows were tinted like most SUVs are.
And after you had verbally speaking with law enforcement, did you do any follow-up on the reports after that?
Yes. The officer that I spoke to had advised me to add to my statement the items that we had talked about.
The law enforcement officer asked you to add certain things to your report?
He had asked me some questions, and the questions that we talked about on the phone, he asked me to add to what I had initially submitted.
Okay. And after that conversation, did you have any further conversations after that point?
I had no further conversation after that point.
Had you yourself been contacted by any further law enforcement after that point?
No.
So it'd be fair to say that you were subpoenaed to testify at some point. That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall when you received that subpoena?
I received my subpoena last Tuesday.
The 18th?
Whatever day last Tuesday was.
Do you recall whom you received that subpoena from?
The Waukesha County Sheriff. Or
Do you
one
recall-
of the sheriffs.
I'm sorry. I didn't-
Or one of the sheriffs.
Oh. And did you do any follow-up information once you received the subpoena? Like, for example, sorry, for example, calling the district attorney's office?
I did not call the district attorney's office. I did reach out to the clerk's office to see if there was any further information.
Were you or your daughter injured in any way during this incident?
No, we were not.
No further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Kohler.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. To be clear, sir, the subpoena you received was issued on behalf of the defendant, Darrell Brooks, correct?
I don't know. That information was not filled out on the subpoena.
Okay. You did provide a typed statement to the Waukesha Police Department, correct?
Objection, leading.
And,
Overruled. Oh, if there's an objection, let me rule on it first before you answer. Overruled, go ahead. And his answer, I believe he answered it, but if not, did you answer it?
I'll ask again.
Thank you.
You did provide a written statement to the police department, correct, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, it's cross 90611 sub 2.
Yes, I provided a written statement.
And in that statement, you described the SUV as driving erratically down White Rock Avenue, correct?
Objection. Didn't testify to that. That was
Oh,
asked and answered.
overruled, the witness may answer, and it's sub 3, not sub 2, by the way. Go ahead.
Yes, just the event of driving past some participants on the right and then veering to pass a next group on the left.
Okay. You said at that point, when the vehicle was on White Rock, it was honking its horn, correct?
Correct?
There was no objection, you can answer.
And you saw an officer run up and try and open the door to the vehicle, correct?
I don't know that he was trying to open the door, just trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do. He ran and his arm had gone towards the door handle.
Okay. And that was at the intersection of White Rock and Main Street, correct, sir?
Yes.
And you got a look at the driver of the car, correct, sir?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
And you described the driver in your written statement as a black male with dark dreadlocks and visible tattoos. Is that correct, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Yes.
Is that consistent with your memory, sir?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled.
That is consistent with my memory today.
Once the vehicle went past the officer, you indicated that you saw it accelerate or speed off. Is that correct, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, 90611 sub 3.
Yes, at that point, it sped away.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect?
Briefly.
Go ahead.
Referring to the written statement that was just testified to the best of your recollection, Do you recall stating that the SUV was a older model red Chevy Blazer?
I do recall putting that down at the time, but that was at that addition that I added 2 weeks later.
So at that time, during the evening of the incident, to the best of your knowledge, that would have been your opinion of the vehicle that you saw?
At the time of that, the day of the parade, I just remembered the red SUV.
To the best of your recollection, what assumption would lead you to describe the vehicle as a Chevy Blazer?
I believe in my assumption, it was just to say it was a older, boxy style SUV, and in my mind, that relates closely to a Chevy Blazer.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down. And you also are excused. Thank you for being here. You may call your next witness. Thank you, sir.
One second. If I may have just a quick second.
Go ahead.
The defense will call Stephen Guth.
I believe one of my assistants went to retrieve Detective Guth, Your Honor.
Thank you. Right, good morning. Detective Guth, if you would, as you are, come to the witness stand, remain standing, raise your right hand, and my clerk Teresa will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. Please state your first and last name for the record, or names, I should say.
Stephen Guth, STEVENGUTH.
Go ahead, sir. You're witness.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
Over 20 years.
And how long have you been a detective?
Just over 7 years.
Directing your attention to the evening of November 21st of 2021. Do you recall that evening?
I do.
And were you on duty that evening?
Not initially.
For more clarification, what do you mean by not initially?
It was a regular off day for me, but I received notification to respond to the police department for the mass casualty incident in the downtown area of Waukesha.
So at that point, I'm assuming you were dispatched to that location?
I was not dispatched. I received a Signal message. We use Signal. It's an app that's used that we can share information for investigations. And I received a Signal message that this tragedy just happened.
And so what did you do from that point?
I immediately dropped my wife and kids off and responded to the parade.
And when you got to the parade, what did you do at that point?
I went to the downtown area to assess and see what I could help with.
At some point during your investigation, did you make contact with the woman by the name of Erica Patterson?
Yes.
And what was the nature of that part of your investigation?
I wanted to speak with Erica Patterson because by that point, when I made contact with our command center, they had learned the name of Darrell Brooks and had learned that Erica Patterson was the estranged girlfriend of the suspect of this investigation.
You made reference to estranged girlfriend. What do you mean?
I don't know if I should answer that.
I think the question was pertaining to the word estranged, but we'll move on.
The jury will disregard that last question, that it's been withdrawn. And the statement made by Detective Guth following that.
I'm assuming at some point you took a statement from Ms. Patterson?
I did.
Do you recall if it was recorded, written, you writing it? What was the nature of how the report was taken?
Well, her words were spoken and they were recorded, and then I prepared a report.
Did you prepare the report that same evening?
No.
When did you prepare the report?
Sometime after the 22nd of November,
Why not the same evening?
because after I spoke with her, I wanted to go back and speak with her again.
Did you obtain any statements from any other people that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
I did not.
Do you know, to your recollection, if any other officers have taken statements from parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
Well, the night of November 21st, 2021, I did have a partner with me, another detective.
Do you recall him talking to any other parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
Well, the detective that was with me was a female, Detective Barron.
The question was, do you know if your partner had any interactions with parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
I don't believe so.
Hold on,
but
are
I
you
can't-
specifically referring to a date certain or just in general?
I think he was clear.
I need it clear for the record,
The
though.
date would be
On the
November
21st?
21st
Okay,
of 2021.
thank you with that clarification.
No, I don't believe so.
Did you learn at any point that there may have been other parties involved with Ms. Patterson?
And which incident?
I'm referring again to November 21st of 2021.
Yes.
Do you recall who those parties were?
Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby.
Did you yourself speak with either of those parties, Nicholas Kirby or Corey Runkle?
No, I did not.
Do you recall if your partner spoke with any of those parties?
Which partner?
I'm guessing the female partner that you made reference to.
No, she did not.
And in that recorded interview with Ms. Patterson, what did you learn about the evening of November 21st, 2021?
Which recording?
Are there multiple recordings?
Yes.
What did you learn about the evening of November 21st, 2021 from both recordings with Ms. Patterson?
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point, as this testimony covers ground that was very clearly covered during the state's case in chief.
I'll give Mr. Brooks some leeway. You are asking for hearsay, though, you understand that.
I asked him, what did he learn?
Fair enough. Go ahead, you may answer.
I learned several things. Initially, I think is what you were getting at. Ms. Brooks wanted to report that she was injured by Darrell Brooks on November 20th, which would have been Saturday. She stated that she met with Mr. Brooks at Frame Park, and they were arguing over the fact that she did not give him money, and he injured her by slapping her in the mouth and punching her in the eye. The next day, I went back and talked to her again, and she clarified that that actually did not happen on the 20th. It happened on the 21st, and that she got in a motor vehicle with him over the same argument. He was mad that she did not provide him with money. He proceeded to try to take her phone because he thought she was talking to other guys. Slapped her in the mouth, punched her in the eye. She jumped out of the motor vehicle because she feared for her safety and made her way back towards Frame Park. While walking back towards Frame Park, she was calling her friends, Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby, to come help her. When she arrived back near Frame Park in front of White Rock School, there was a confrontation in front of White Rock School with Mr. Brooks, Erica Patterson, Corey Runkle, and Nicholas Kirby, where there was some kind of shoving match. And that's when Mr. Brooks got back into the motor vehicle and took off down White Rock towards Main Street. Erica Patterson then made her way back towards the Women's Center.
You made reference to being told about an incident from Saturday, November 20th. And then stating that in the second interview, Ms. Patterson stated that it happened. Is that correct?
She didn't state that it didn't happen. She just stated that she didn't drive around with him on Saturday, November 20th. But she also met with him and was slapped in the mouth that day too.
If it pleases the court, I have a document here I would like to show the witness.
All right, if the bailiff could have it to the state first to look at it. You may use the document camera if that's hooked up. Otherwise, the bailiff can take it to the witness.
Before we go through that process, I'm going to object. It's, well, maybe
Let
we
me
should
see the
cut out
document.
this. Yeah.
All right, give that back to Mr. Brooks. Given the content of that document, I'll sustain the objection, or what that document is, I should say.
Sustain on what grounds?
It's not relevant, yep, to this witness's testimony.
How is it not relevant?
It's not relevant.
You made reference to November 20th. That's what this document is talking about.
It's not relevant to the charges at issue. We can take it up later, and if need be, I'll let you recall the witness, but I'm directing you to move on to a new topic.
Your Honor, I'm going to respectfully object to that and ask for a finding of fact.
The objection's noted, it's sustained. Well, their objection's sustained, yours is overruled. Please continue.
Is that noted for the record? I would like a written finding of fact.
The request is denied. Keep going, please.
Denied on what grounds, on what lawful law?
Keep going, sir. It's not relevant.
Are you making a judicial determination that you don't have to answer that question as a public servant?
Sir, I've ruled on the objection. It's on the record. Please keep going.
Once again, information that needs to be known is being hidden.
It's not relevant, sir. Please continue.
Very relevant. He just opened the door on that by saying November 20th.
Objection. Move to strike all of the comments made by Mr. Brooks in the last 20 seconds or so, especially with regard to any implication that he hasn't had all of the discovery material.
Objection. I never made any mention of not having any discovery material. That never was
The jury will
stated.
just disregard, as I've told the jury repeatedly, comments made or statements made by the parties, whether they be lawyers or the parties themselves, are not evidence, and you're to disregard them and not consider them in any way. And if the statement suggested facts that are not in evidence, you should not make that, should not consider that in any way either. All right, go ahead. Your next question, please.
So is it fair to say that in your report you referenced 2 incident reports?
Objection. This
Grounds.
witness wrote.
I'm going to overrule the
Fine.
objection and let the witness answer it. I think it might just be semantics at this point, but go ahead and ask your
You
question.
mean semantics?
I think you were referring to that he had 2.
That's what his report says. He makes reference to two reports, 2 incidents.
2 incidents.
Yes.
Not 2 incident reports. Reports would be separate documents. That's what I'm talking about. With that understanding, that you're referring to, and I think you're referring to incidents with Ms. Patterson, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead. Ask your question. I think that clarifies so that the witness can answer.
In your, let me back up. You wrote your own report. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And in your report, you referred to 2 incidents. Would that be fair to say?
Just to clarify, which report are you speaking about? I wrote several reports.
The one written November 22nd of 2021.
I do reference 2 reports and 1 CAD call.
What was the last part? Cat call?
A CAD call, yes.
What do you mean cab call?
Not CAD, CAD.
Cat.
C-A-D.
Cat.
CAD call.
What do you mean cat call? What?
That's a call for service. That does not generate a police report.
And what was that CAD call?
That was a call for service near Frame Park for a fight involving potentially a domestic related incident.
Do you recall any other details about that CAD call?
There wasn't much in it because the officer had to leave to go to the parade.
Do you recall mention of a knife during that CAD call?
Yes,
To the best of your recollection, do you recall anyone recovering a knife or you yourself recovering a knife?
there was no knife involved in that incident through my investigation of the report that you have.
But it is fair to say that that's how the CAD call went out, that there was potentially a knife fight.
That's how it was initially, I believe, reported or communicated through dispatch to the officers that responded.
You made reference, and I'm referring to the second interview with Ms. Patterson. You made reference in your report that in the previous interview that Ms. Patterson was not completely forthright. What exactly do you mean by not completely forthright?
She did not give me all the details of the incidents to me initially.
Do you recall why?
I don't know why she didn't.
So it'd be fair to say that Ms. Patterson had been untruthful with you in the first interview.
No, she told me she was extremely afraid of you. And that's why she didn't want to tell me everything.
Well, you just stated that you didn't know why she was not forthright.
I can't read her mind, but that's what she told me.